Oh, hey, everybody. Well, there's nobody because I'm a minute early. Like, who comes a minute early to class? My daughters have informed me that no one's coming anyway because everyone's sleeping, and that's probably true. We'll figure all this stuff out in good time. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's day one of our new reality. I hope my people joining me. Hi, Amber! Oh my gosh, I can't think of anyone I would rather see first on this. Is this a vlog? Is this what I'm doing? I was trying to come up with the name of it, but I was struggling. It's not really class. Who else is out there? Hello, Hannah. Hello. I'm amazed you guys are awake. Good job. You've passed the first test of early adulthood. You're awake at... Oh, this is a vlog. Good. Okay, see how I'm with it? I'm so with the times. I thought I made that word up, but it must be real. I want to give people a time to join in who are joining. I also know that this will be posted later for viewing. Hi, Georgia. Hi. Oh, my people. Here, y'all want a fist bump or high five or handshake? Hello, Mr. Winter. How are you? And Carson. Oh, I miss Carson. Hi. Oh, this is kind of fun. Maybe the new reality won't be as bad as we think, right? I mean, you don't even know if I have pants on. No, I'm just kidding. I have pants on. Yeah, I do. Okay. Just checking. Hello, Caitlin. Hello. I can see y'all's faces walking up the ramp. It's just there's no ramp. Okay. Oh, there's Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I'm really amazed this many people are awake. I'm super impressed. I could take some in the chat box if you want to give me some suggestions about better times of day to do this. If 10 a.m. really doesn't work for you, then let me know that. My daughter said like 2 would be better, but like I said, I'd like as many people to join live as possible, but I don't really, need everyone to necessarily be live to have access. Hi, Kareem. Hi. Also, you might see some people's names who you just don't know because I'm also reaching out to Mr. Culp's students. So there might be some, and I'm also reaching across different disciplines, So this vlog is going to be pertinent to people in my civics classes, but also in my American history classes, because of the nature of what I've decided to do here. Okay, so without further delay, it's 10:02. I'm going to quit trying to be distracted by the fun names popping up of people joining us. And instead, I'm going to try and focus on the content I want to deliver to you guys today because I don't want to waste your time. Time is valuable, right? Okay, so I've made this super fancy production quality thing here. Oh crap, I forgot this part. I've got to flip the thing, but I forgot how. Okay, so you either for this video need to really work on reading backwards, or you just need to listen to what I'm saying instead of what this says. So the first thing I need to let you know, maybe I shouldn't even hold up, right? You can't even see it, but at least you know I have a plan, right? So I have a plan for what I want to say today. And next time I'll make that plan visible to you. All right, this is not what I'm not a great salesman. Okay, so before I even tell you what I'm doing, I want to tell you what I'm not doing. It's not backwards. You can see this? Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, because it's backwards to me, but it's good for you. Okay, great. Well then, see, I have something prepared. It's not very impressive, but it's legible. So I got that going on. Okay, so what this is not, what am I not doing here? This is not a lecture for class. You do not need to be taking notes. I'm not giving out assignments. This will not be needed in any way. You can go away right now and I will never know it and I will not hold it against you, okay? So I'm not using any form of coercion to gain your attention or cooperation here, okay? This is not official WCPSS news or policy here. As you probably know from our last day in class, because Miss Scioli studies social studies, she can kind of see ahead a little bit. Like I'm about 3 days ahead of everyone else about what's going on. And so our institutions are slower to adapt to our new reality. Us individuals can think faster and can adapt faster than necessarily our institutions can. So you might notice that Ms. Scioli seems to be thinking ahead of where official policy is. And that's true, and there's a reason for it, but don't get what comes out of my mouth confused with official policy. Okay, this is just a social studies geek thinking off the top of her head. Okay. This is not a vanity project. Okay, I don't really care how many views I get, and I don't really need lots of shares and those kinds of things. Okay. As you know, as I said in class, this is just like what my gift is to the world. And if 3 people out there care and benefit from it, I will give it. Okay. I'm just driven to do this work. I don't know why. Don't feel bad. If this doesn't meet your needs in any way, then you should go do something else. Okay. And it won't hurt my feelings or my ego. I gave up being popular a long time ago. So, yeah, tune in as it helps you, and don't feel bad if it doesn't help you. Okay. Also, this is obviously not a well-prepared, packaged, or high production quality effort here. Okay, I'm really not going to obsess about a lot of details and production and that kind of stuff. I've got a lot going on in my old household, in my own household, as I'm sure you do too. So, it's just going to be, from the cuff. This is okay. So, what am I doing here? This is from the heart. Okay, it is authentic, and it is what I am thinking about throughout my days, and that I think could benefit you, because I care about my people. Okay, and if you're viewing this, you're one of my people. And so I just want to help you and help us be resilient and stronger in this moment, because this is a time of great challenge, whether you realize it or not. Sometimes if you're in the middle of a storm, you just don't really realize how windy it is, right? But I need to assure you as a historian that this is a storm, and you are in the middle of it, even though it's a really quiet storm. Okay, so you maybe have a lot of afflictive feelings, and you just don't know why, and you may not even be able to admit that, because some of us don't like to admit we have afflictive feelings. So that's what the purpose of this is me, as someone who cares about you, trying to help you as best I know how. Okay, this is also a demonstration of how, if you learn the disciplines that I have studied my whole life, called the social studies, okay, that they can have really practical benefits in your life. They can help you integrate what the political and social forces are, and help you give shape to them and better understanding of them. And as I said before, it's also a way to be 3 days ahead of everyone else in terms of what the crap is going on. Okay, so if you're someone who I'm kind of left-brained. I like to think about the future and the past, and know what's coming and why and how to prepare for it. So if that's something you're interested in, then maybe this vlog, I think that's what this is called, will help you. Okay, so what are the disciplines of social studies? I went over this in class on Friday, but these are the disciplines that you study in social studies and that I am kind of a specialist in. Okay, psychology, sociology, history, economics, geography, and government and civics. Okay, so every time I do a vlog, I'm not committing to doing this every day. I'm going to kind of wait and see how it goes and what people's needs are. But every day I'm going to kind of zoom in on one or two of those disciplines that I think is really pertinent to the moment we find ourselves in now. Okay. You'll recall on Friday in class, I kind of knew we weren't going to be in class, and I kind of knew we weren't going to be in class for a long time. And I kind of knew that our institutions were going to go under some stress. And I started thinking about which ones would be most adaptive. Okay, so today right now, this moment, I'm speaking through a sociological lens, like a frame, because I've taught sociology for over 20 years. And one key idea is that we have these institutions that keep society going. Okay, they're the key institutions in society. They're family, government, economy, education, and religion. Okay, and these institutions are always adjusting and adapting to try and meet the needs of individuals in society. Okay, sometimes some of them have to get stronger where others have gotten weaker, to try and maintain balance and keep people socially and emotionally and economically okay, right? So the institutions that are most adaptive at this moment are going to be family and religion. Okay. So, I mean, take, for example, religion. Right away, our religious institutions have had to start adapting very quickly. I didn't go to church on Sunday. I tuned into a Facebook live session, and it went pretty well, but we're already tweaking it to make it go better next week, right? So our religious institutions are under extreme stress right now. Our smaller religious institutions that maybe only have 65 to 100 members that are older are going to really struggle to make it through these weeks because they literally won't be passing a collection plate at services. They won't be having services. And so the financial resilience of those institutions are really going to struggle. Meanwhile, some churches that are larger and more tech savvy might do just fine. And there might be a migration towards those institutions over time. But the key institution I want to talk with you about today is this one, family, because that's the one you can start working on today to try and make yourselves more resilient and more capable of responding to this moment. And this is a really awkward reality for a lot of adolescents because, to be honest, it's not developmentally appropriate right now for you to really be stuck with your family in your house for hours on end. And so let's talk a little bit about psychology. Okay. Also, our families are not well prepared for this moment. A lot of our families are not well prepared for this moment. I don't know if my family is, indicative of this, but we have spent a lot of time as family members working outside our homes to earn wages to bring back to our families. A lot of the adults in our households, myself included, we work really hard. We've allowed our kids to entertain themselves, access technology, develop their own friend sets. We have some families that are divorced and separated and live in different residences and have different sets of rules for their kids, and their kids are navigating all of this. And all of that has been fine to a degree because our other institutions were stronger, like schools. If your parents weren't teaching you the kind of things that you needed to be taught explicitly, you could count on the schools to do it. Well, schools are not going to be there in these coming weeks and in this moment. So suddenly the family is going to have to step it up and assume some responsibilities and operational realities that they're just not well suited for or prepared for. And so what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about what that means for you, given the fact that we know about adolescent psychology. Okay, so let's talk about where you're at as an adolescent or where you might be. Everyone's in different places, but maybe sometimes if you just name something, it might help you frame, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling and what's going on? Okay, so adolescence is a really unique time in your development, and there's some just realities about that fact. Okay, the whole goal of adolescence is for you to separate from your family of origin and create your own separate identity and ability to function as a unique individual in the world. It's kind of hard to do. It's like getting kicked out of a nest or whatever. So it helps if you make the nest really unattractive and unsatisfying, so that you will leave it. All right, because we all need to leave our home of origin eventually and become independent, fully functioning adults, right? So what is normal during this time period is for you to gravitate towards your friends and away from your parents, okay? And you've been doing that, I'm sure. You would rather spend time outside your home with your friends than you would rather spend time inside your home with your parents and siblings, and that's entirely normal. I don't know the degree to which that has changed given technology. For example, I remember when it snowed when I was a teenager, and if I could in any way get out of my house and go be with my friends, even if it meant I was stuck at someone else's house for 6 days without end, I would much have preferred that to being stuck in the house, okay? But I didn't have technology and I didn't have Snapchat and all the ways to reach my friends through technology. So maybe this desire to be with your friends is a little mitigated by technology, but I'm sure it's not that much has changed. I'm sure a lot of you would still rather see your friends physically and be in spaces where you are dominating the space and the norms, not adults. Am I right about that? Let me know in the chat, okay, how right I am about that. The other thing that goes on with teenagers and adolescents is because of this tension between leaving the nest and socializing with your peers, you tend to build like a secret life. Okay, so you have a secret life. You have a whole life separate that your parents don't even know about. It has its own language. It has its own norms. if you took the time to sit your parents down and explain your whole secret life, one, you would never do this, but second of all, it would take hours because y'all have knit together this adolescent culture between you and your peer group and your tribe that just is super complicated and has its own norms and those things. So what you might be experiencing right now is kind of grief or anxiety about the fact what's going to happen to your tribe and your secret life and that whole thing that you had going on, what's going to happen to it during this time period, okay? And you might be experiencing some real anxiety and grief around that, and especially just things, especially seniors. If you're a senior out there and you were anticipating spring of your senior year to be a time of real excitement with trips and prom and this and that and graduation and you had all these expectations about the future, and those things now are not. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, good. So now we have Sonnet's helping us out with the difference between introverts and extroverts, right? That's also a psychological concept. There's some people who just really can't be around people in an intense way for any length of time. And so this could actually be a really time that's really well suited to some people's inherent kind of introverted or personality types. So personality types is also a really important frame for this. So I can talk about personality types in a later vlog if that will help you. Okay, yes. All right. So we're seeing some introverts who are like, yes. Okay. So we got to keep in mind individual variance here is really important. And those are all valid perspectives for sure. Okay. Before all else, know yourself. But if you are one of the people who was looking forward to the coming weeks and an ability to be with your people and celebrate or mark time as your seniors or any other part of your academic school year, then this could be hard. Okay. The other thing that's going on with adolescents is they're anticipatorily socializing, okay, which means that you're always thinking about the next phase in your life and getting ready for it, okay? And probably in most of your life, that's the idea of being in college or moving out of your parents' house or apartment into your own space and being like an adult and acting like an adult. And that can involve intimate relationships with people you're attracted to. That can involve what adults do, which include things like drinking alcohol. I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying that those are things that adolescents, as they age up, they tend to start anticipating what it's going to be like to be an adult. And they tend to want to engage in behaviors and activities that are well suited to those things. So that's another thing that goes on in adolescent development, especially as you get into the upper ranges of adolescence, like 17, 18 years old. And then we also have a reality in adolescence called suspended adulthood. And what that means is that you're like biologically adults by the time it's earlier than ever now that we go through puberty and actually become biological adults in terms of our abilities to like reproduce and do labor and earn wages and those things. But you're not really an adult and you're not given the full authority to run your life and control all of the aspects of your life, because really your parents still have a lot of control over your finances, your transportation, how much money you have, what you do with your money, and you live in their house. So there's inherent tensions related to these principles that are going to cause friction or require negotiation for adolescents living in their home of origin, especially during a time when you're kind of all stuck together. Okay. The other thing that's going on in adolescence that might be relevant to this time period is that you have really inconsistent what we call executive function and self-regulation skills. Executive function is your ability to think for yourself about what are my goals, what do I want to be doing, how do I want to be doing them, and what do I need to do to accomplish that? And then monitoring your own behavior to determine, am I doing that? How am I doing on meeting my own goals? And because you've been in school for 10, 11, 12 years, and you've relied upon your teachers to tell you what we're doing and how we're doing it, and how you're going to know if you're doing it well, because we're going to grade you on it or give you feedback on it, this could be really weird right now, because no one's going to really be telling you, except for your parents, to the degree that they're self-aware enough to do it. They're not going to be telling you all this stuff, and I'm not going to be telling you this stuff. And neither are any of your other teachers going to be telling you this stuff. It's kind of like you're suddenly dumped you out into this wild, wild west frontier of you figure it out stuff, okay? Which could be a little destabilizing, to say the least. And some of us are better prepared for this moment than others, to be honest, okay? So here's what I need you to do. Here's what I think you should be doing in the next little while about this new reality you find yourself in. First of all, I think you need to name things. You need to think about them. Think about your psychology, your emotional state, and where we find ourselves at this particular moment. And I think you need to start naming it. Are you sleeping too much? Could you be depressed? Are you anxious? Is your family unit not particularly strong right now to bear this kind of stress? What are the personality types within your family that could be prone to conflict? How can you help mitigate those conflicts? Okay, so the more you study around these ideas in social studies, the more they can help you navigate that. Okay, so maybe tomorrow or in the coming days, I'll talk about personality types, especially, and other developmental, psychosocial developmental stages, because if you have younger siblings, they're in different developmental stages than you, and their needs and ability to deal with this moment might be really different because of that, okay? So try and name things, and once you name them, you can address them, but you have to be aware of them first before you can address them. All right, then I need you to strive to level up here, okay? You're an adolescent. You're half adult and you're half kid. Well, you're a lot less than half kid as you're moving forward up towards 17, 18 years old, okay? It might be really tempting right now to actually regress, okay? And go back and play video games all day and or sleep or do your own thing, entertain yourself with your peers, okay? But I actually think that you need to attempt to level up and be more like an adult at this time because you're fully capable of doing that and you'll learn a lot. In the coming days, you're going to learn a lot more from experience than you are from books. And experiential education is really valuable and it's really important. And this is a really unique time in your life to learn experientially. And you'll learn life lessons that are going to stick with you a lot longer than any lecture that anyone's going to give you. So I want you to try and level up. I want you to try and be more like an adult than a kid at this time. The biggest thing you can do today and in the coming days is help your family. Okay, your family is an institution. It has its own unique culture and processes, but it probably could be better prepared for this moment. So the first thing you can do, and that we've been doing in my household, is I need you to recommit to the space that your family inhabits. Your family has a physical space they have to share now intensely for the next who knows how many weeks. I had not committed to this space in a long time. Our yard was a mess. Our house was a mess. The floors were dirty. The cabinets were, and that's fine when you're not here all the time. But now we're here all the time. So we spent some time this weekend just cleaning, organizing, straightening up, trying to make this space a little more inviting and a little better for our mental health. Okay. This also means, of course, trying to make sure your house is provisioned and you have the things that you need to the degree that you're able. Okay. And I feel like a lot of people were doing that on Friday and Saturday as well. Also, don't shoot the messengers. Okay. Your parents and I and any other adults who understand the larger thing going on here, they're just telling you what reality is in terms of the degree to which you can leave the house and the degree to which you can interact with people you want and the degree you can exercise your freedom. We're all really frustrated about the facts we find ourselves in because we're really used to creature comforts and we're really used to being able to do what we want to do with who we want to do it with when we want to do it. Okay. But this is a time where we have got to sacrifice our self-interest for the greater good. And if your parents are relaying that message to you, don't kill them about it. Okay. They don't like it any better than you do, but they've got to hold us all accountable to do what is in the common good. Okay. So when your parents tell you things that they don't want to say and you don't want to hear, just don't shoot the messengers. They're telling you what reality is. Okay. Also, I think you can gain a lot of moral authority right now. Moral authority is hard to explain, but really important. It's the degree to which you are seen as a thoughtful, reliable, a trustworthy, intentional, compassionate, empathetic person. Okay. And I think right now, if you would help your parents see that you can rise to this moment and you can have very frank conversations with them about, hey, what are the problems we're facing here? Okay. Are we worried about losing income? Are we worried about childcare? Are we worried about how we're going to make the rent payment? Are we worried about obtaining the things we need? Are we worried about each other's mental health? I think if you could develop some systems and structures in your household to try and show your parents that you're up to the moment and that you can help them adapt to this new reality we all find ourselves in, that you could help them see you as a more capable young adult that's worthy of some respect and responsibility and those kinds of things. So, for example, in my family, we're adopting some new structures to try and help us through this. One thing is a morning meeting. Okay, so we literally sit down every morning. I'm of the opinion right now that we can't plan our lives for more than 2 days away. That's a new reality. Any plans we are making that are more than 2 days away, I'm just holding as like possibilities, but they don't exist in my reality. Okay, so now every day we're trying to meet in the morning and just basically ask everyone how they're feeling. How are you feeling today about what's going on, and address those feelings as best we can and be honest about them and make a safe space where we can talk about them. And then second of all, just plan, what are we doing today? Okay, how are we going to spend our time? Today, the first day of school being canceled, I started trying to frame for my children, what are the ways of being intelligent? There's 7 different types of intelligence. And what are we going to do every day to try and develop those 7 types? Given the fact that no one's grading you and no one's giving you assignments. So that might be something tomorrow or in future days I can talk with you about, is what are the 7 types of intelligence? How do they work? How can you try and make sure that you are developing your intelligence? There's a huge opportunity here for you to one day articulate, whether it be for college admissions or in a job interview or in any other way, what this moment, the challenges it presented to you and how you overcame them. And so I need you to start thinking about how big of a learning opportunity this is, and for you to think about how you can pull together your collective talents and strengths to meet this moment. Okay. So I've gone on really for a long time, really too long. I didn't mean for this to be this long. So I just need to know if you have any questions, and I want to, if you don't have any questions or you're ready to move on, you're welcome to get off this chat. But if you have some questions related to anything I've said or unrelated to anything, but just because I'm a teacher at your school, I'm happy to. Okay, great. So yeah, we need to move into governmental responses too, because the government is going to respond to this moment. We're not exactly sure why or how, but yes. So let me identify. We've heard from our introverts who are pretty happy about this moment. So I'm happy for you guys. I hear from some people here who understand that they actually need to talk to people. And so it's hard. If you're a verbal processor, like maybe this person, a lack of people to talk to can mean that you're not actually like sorting out your thoughts very well. You're just perseverating in your head, and until you talk with people. So that's a really good self-awareness moment right there. And you need to start figuring out who is like you and needs some verbal processing in their life. All right, so Jessica, I want to address your issue about federal loans for businesses that have to apply for or to cover their employee wages. So the Fed and the federal government is slowly coming to reckoning about this. I don't know if you watched the debates last night between Bernie and Biden, but it was interesting to just hear them talk about what they would do, which is really easy for them to say because they don't actually control anything right now. But the Fed is releasing all this money up here to give almost 0% interest loans to businesses to stay in business. But there's no way that the government can compel businessmen to do that. So what's happening is a whole bunch of business people who own small businesses are having to make some decisions very quickly. given the lack of demand, it's going to eventually seep its way into the economy where people are not going out and they're not buying things and they're not doing things that would generate wages for their workers. So at some point, those businesses have to decide, like, I'm going to stay in business and I'm going to borrow money to pay my workers through this time, or they're going to close their business and people are going to lose wages. Also, we have some employees who, even if their business owner stays in business, they have children to take care of now and they can't come to work. So the next thing that needs to happen is a from the bottom up program that's going to give unemployment compensation or compensation of some sort to workers who don't have sick leave or need benefits. And so the House of Representatives over the weekend proposed a unemployment expansion program. So if you can no longer do your job and you're staying home taking care of your children, you can apply for these benefits and they will help you. They'll pay you about 2/3 or somewhere around there was the proposal of your regular wages, which isn't great, but that's just been proposed by the House. Now it has to move to the Senate and it has to be signed by the president. So we're not moving as quickly. I can't tell you today what the program is, okay? But the wheels of government are moving to try and create programs like that. So I hope that addresses Jessica's issue. Mackenzie says, I feel like in the world, the effects of Corona keep getting worse and worse. When do you think things are going to get better? That's the great question, Mackenzie. We really don't know how long this is going to take for it to work its way through the system. You know, I know in class I was really optimistic and was hoping, like, hey, if we all stay in our houses for 2 weeks, this could all just go away. I don't think we're there yet. I think this could be a lot longer than 2 weeks, but we don't know. We just need about 2 weeks to figure out how many cases are active in our communities. You know, they say if you don't social distance that you can double every day. And we had 7 cases on Friday and we had 14 cases today. So that's better than doubling every day, but clearly we're going to see some more expansion of this virus in our communities. And slowly people are going to get it and then they're going to be immune from it. So that will help. But while we try to, we're trying to keep the curve low, that means you lengthen it. And so the CDC is saying it could be 8 weeks. If we do a good job lowering the curve, then we lengthen the curve. So I think we really could be looking at the CDC recommendation of 8 weeks as a new reality that we're dealing with. So, Jessica, there is not a certain link or something you need to sign up on yet, but it's coming. I do believe it is coming. It's just, I know we want answers tomorrow or today, but we're not quite there yet in terms of governmental policy. Also, these things can happen, on the local, state, and federal level. So let's stay tuned. And in the coming days, I will keep people up to date on what kind of governmental policy approaches that are being hatched to meet the real needs of people. I mean, there's also Andrew Yang. Remember Andrew Yang and the idea of universal-based income? There's a part of people out in the world who believe that we need, I'll talk about the circulation of money in the economy is also a really important thing that we could talk about. But universal-based income was based on this idea that we need to keep money circulating through the economy. And so this could be a time where we really get to kind of create a sandbox of ways that could help us shape policy going forward about how we need to move money through the economy, given increasing automation going forward. There's just a lot of things in the future that could create similar situations to now where money's just not moving through the economy and we have to come up with prescriptions to do that. So, okay, Mackenzie, about quarantine during the summer. The other thing is I think that this virus is going to become harder to spread in the summer. A lot of upper respiratory viruses don't spread as fast in the summer. So we're hoping the coronavirus would be responsive to weather, but we're not positive yet. So I am thinking it'll get better in the summer, to be honest. Those are my expectations. They're not based on any guarantees. Nothing forward is guaranteed, just using my rational reason based on past experiences with viruses like the flu. I do think we're developing a vaccine. We're developing as quickly as possible. We don't know how long it will take. So also viruses are really innovative at mutating. So just like the flu shot, you can come up with a vaccine, but the the virus could mutate to a different strain that would make that immunity less certain. Okay, so Mackenzie, you want to know what's going to happen with our grades? This is not WCPSS policy that I'm about to say. It is just a teacher who is a social studies perspective. I think if you had issues outstanding about your third quarter grades, you should reach out to your teachers individually and see if y'all can come up with, I really want to touch my face, individual remedies for that. For example, I have a couple students who were absent. Maybe they had the flu before we left and they're missing tests and they need to do things to get their grade up. And you need to reach out to your teacher and let them know that you want to seek solutions for that. I don't have that many students in that situation. I have lots of time. So I am happy to do things like FaceTime people and verbally quiz them. There's lots of innovative ways we can use technology to fill those holes and solve those problems. So if you're one of those people or you know one of those people, you should do that. There's this whole idea that we're going to do a whole lot of online learning. But imagine if we were in class and I was giving a test and some of you in the class didn't have desks or pencils. And I took up the test and graded it and gave everyone a grade based on that unequal access. Well, you would all be like, that's not cool. Well, that's what we're doing if we start trying to do online learning, given the fact we know that some of our students don't have devices and they don't have internet access. So that's just a bottom line equity issue that's not fair and therefore not doable. So I think we're a good couple years away from online instruction that can be accountable and hold students accountable to determine their grades and matriculation through high school. So that's just not happening right now. And that's why I'm not lecturing and giving tests and quizzes and marching forward today like that. So I don't think during this quarantine time or social distancing time that you're going to have teachers carrying on online instruction with a great level of fidelity and accountability. I do think you should think about what education means more broadly than school. And I do think you ought to be deciding what education in this time period needs to look like for you and how you can create a curriculum for yourself in terms of your interests and what you want to learn. And to the degree that this blog or some other resources could be a part of that, I really want to challenge you to think about that, because you're not going to be able to rely upon your teachers to lay out breadcrumbs with a clear curriculum for you in the next little while. I know that's like a big change. So I'm happy to help you navigate what your education will look like in the next 8 weeks. I don't think it's necessary to panic buy right now. Actually, I think our grocery stores are going to keep getting stocked and they're still going to have workers. Even in Italy, where they've closed down every single other thing, the only things that are open are grocery stores and pharmacies. It might be less easy to get in and get out because they might start, regulating how many people can be in the store at a time. But I don't think you need to panic buy right now. I do think you need to use the resources in your house really carefully. Take inventory. This is something you can do to help your family. Take inventory. What food do we have? What food's going to spoil first? And let's eat it first. And what food is going to be next? And so managing the resources you have in your house already, I think, could be really important. And to the degree that you can help your parents do that and not complain about the fact you don't like the food that's in the house right now would be really important. Tanner, I think the question is, do you think it'll ever actually go away? I do think this virus will go away, but I think the reality of pandemics being a new source of stress for us globally will not be going away. And we're going to have to learn how to be very adaptive to that new reality. I have no idea what might happen with graduation. I don't know of any Leesville staff or faculty that have tested positive. I do know that there was a positive test at an elementary school. Was it Fuquay Varina Elementary School? A teacher tested. And I know that there was a cashier at Target at Briar Creek who tested positive for coronavirus, but those are the only two people anywhere in this area that I know of that have tested positive. Okay, McKinsey says if our time off of school extends, is summer school a real possibility? You have to work at summer camp. I just don't know. I'm holding my summer plans lightly. I'm holding all plans going forward lightly. And I know that's hard to hold in your head. But whatever you think is set in stone in the future, I don't know that everything's quite as set in stone as you might imagine. I still see like people talking about their spring break plans, that they were going to travel. I would start trying to detach yourself from all of those expectations, because I think we're really in uncharted waters here. And that's hard. Psychologically, that's hard. We like to have expectations, and we like to plan, and we like to have some degree of certainty. But I would get you to focus less on the future and more on the present. I think you need to start thinking a lot about today, your household, your family members, investing in them, investing in the space, investing in tomorrow and what tomorrow is going to look like. Okay. And get super hyper local. Start thinking about your neighbors. Do you have any people around you who are elderly and can't get to the grocery store or shouldn't get out? Do you have people around you who have childcare issues? There's a real opportunity. If you need to bring wages into your household to help your household function right now, there's a real opportunity with childcare. There's a lot of people working from home who don't need their kids driving them crazy all day. And if you honestly went over and knocked on some doors and said, I would be happy to entertain your children for a few hours a day, you could make some money. So, and they would be so grateful for that, because we haven't done a great job of investing in our streets and our neighbors. And it's a little uncomfortable now because kind of like we haven't invested so much in our family members. It's a little uncomfortable to walk next door to someone you've lived next to for 5 years and say, hey, I don't really know your name. Do you need anything? I understand that. But if we're going to be resilient as a culture, that's what we need to do at this moment. So be just kind of thinking about those things, warming your brain up to new possibilities and realities. Okay. Will the government offer some compensation for small businesses? Yes, Kareem. I don't know when you joined us, but I don't know exactly how it will work, but I think that we learned from the Great Depression that you're going to have to infuse some money in the economy at the bottom, like at the level of people, So I know it's hard to hold on, but I would like to ask you to just press pause for 3 or 4 days in your mind, because my dad's a small businessman as well, to think about how we're going to meet the needs. The governmental institutions are going to meet the needs, but just give it some time. So I would say in the meantime, while those solutions are being worked out, just super invest in your households and your neighborhood. Okay. And try and get them as ready and resilient for what's coming. And then when the larger institutions start to funnel in with ideas and programs, then y'all can be ready to hit the ground running with everything in order to meet that need. So for example, if you may be providing this may never even occur to you that you're going to be taking care of children. Okay? Especially if you're male in the society. We don't prepare a lot of men for nurturing children. But let's say that your parents' business is not going to be going so well and you just really realize we need to bring in money. You might entertain new ways of making money. And so start working on those solutions now, building the groundwork for that, whether it be in your neighborhood or with people you know. Okay. And then give us a few days for those governmental programs to kick in. Yeah, I don't personally think anyone is traveling abroad during spring break on April 3rd. Right. I don't, Matthew's asking about martial law. I can tell you for sure that my husband's a police officer and he still thinks he has Friday off. So if martial law is coming, the police don't know it and are totally unaware of it. I think it depends on how cooperative the population is in terms of regulating themselves and meeting this moment of need. I see in like Paris and in Britain and in some cities, people don't seem to be doing a very good job of self-regulating. So that's when the government has to step in for the good of public health. But I don't think we're quite there yet. Mackenzie, I think that the government's got to make a big decision about whether they're going to pump money into the economy indiscriminately or if they're going to make it needs-based. If you pump money in the economy indiscriminately, I heard an Obama, the guy who helped do financial and economic, it's on the National Council of Economic Advisors for Obama. He said he thought that they ought to just send everybody in America a check for $1,000 this month. Boom. Okay, indiscriminate, doesn't matter who you are. That reminded me a lot of like Andrew Yang's universal basic income proposals. Because that's easy and cheap to do. The Internal Revenue Service knows everyone's address and everyone's name and who pays taxes, and they can just literally cut checks. We've done that before. George W. Bush sent us all a check for $400 one time. So that would be easy and fast and cheap, but not cheap, if you know what I'm saying. The other thing is to make it needs-based, which would be through unemployment insurance. And all of us who work pay into the unemployment insurance programs. And that involves you going to an office and making your case about why you need these benefits at this time, and then them giving you the benefits. The problem is that it's bureaucratic. It requires lots of people standing in lines and we're not supposed to be gathering in numbers of a certain size right now. And so that's what the government has to figure out, is if they're going to make this needs-based or if they're going to just make blanket checks cut. Okay. So Mackenzie, that kind of addresses whether people who are still employed or work for large businesses will have access to government compensation. Yes, if you in any way work in a service industry that is in any way dependent upon people gathering, this could be a challenge for your industry. So restaurants, bars, weddings are canceled pretty much. I feel so sorry for people who've planned weddings at this time. Oh, just so much time and effort and energy and money goes into that. So yeah, I think that those events will become less and less common, and therefore anyone whose income depends upon those events could really see a hard time making their typical wages during that time period. I don't know about all domestic flights, but it's possible. Well, I'm excited, Jessica. Your sixth grade brother just joined this live stream. I can tell you that my sixth grader and eighth grader who live in this household, they're not very impressed with their mother's knowledge at all. So, I'll tell Caroline that, yeah, maybe she just walked by, but she's made her own schedule for today and she is carrying it out to develop her 7 different types of intelligence. So, all right. Do I have any book recommendations during this time period? Have you read Educated? Oh, there's Caroline. There's your schedule. She's my model student now. You read Educated by Tara, whatever her name is? This could be a really good book for right now because she grew up in a family that didn't allow her to go to school. So it's a great read. And she later went on to become an Ivy League phenomenon. So yeah, this is a great time to read Educated. Joel, I like your question about Medicare for all and universal basic income. If you watched the debates last night, I feel like some of the most poignant or powerful calls were like, how in a country this wealthy and with this high of a standard of living do we have this many people who can't go to the doctor? So I do think that this is going to bring about some huge changes in American society. In American history, we study about the impact of war and how wars just fundamentally change how society works. For example, in World War II, because of the medical challenges of the battlefield, and we developed antibiotics. Well, we didn't have antibiotics before that. So this is a war too. It's an invisible war, but it's going to have seismic long-term impacts on our medical institutions and our culture and the way we do a lot of things. So Yeah, I do think that we'll see huge changes in our medical delivery. Now, the National Health Service in Britain, they have single payer healthcare, and they're not very well positioned for this time period either. I was just listening this morning. They don't have enough doctors. They've underfunded the National Health Service. Um, so it's not just that you need a different structure maybe to meet the needs of everyone, but then you need to fund it. And worldwide, we've had since 1980, we've had a worldwide movement toward conservatism, which is the idea that we can cut taxes and let the free market provide for a lot of our needs. And I think we might see a pendulum swing back to the idea that we actually do need to fund the government, because the CDC and a lot of our governmental institutions are not well staffed for this moment, and they're not well prepared for this moment because of our commitment that government should be small. Matthew, I need to know more about your food industry job. A lot of businesses are moving towards internet orders and delivery, and that's a way you could really help your local community, is to order food out and pick it up. They're going to start really adapting to the new reality that they need to do that. And so it really depends on how adaptable your business is. Yeah, I hear your question, Mackenzie. They really can't recommend school anytime soon. Like, I'm not a WCPSS spokesperson. I'm just a teacher. I don't have any inside information. All the people in power above me, I'm leaving them alone because they have a lot on their plate right now to think about. But I'm with you. I don't see how we can have school anytime soon. I don't think you should wear a mask when you go outside. I do think you should go outside. I think it's really important to be out in the sunshine and in the air. I think you should stay 6 feet away from people. I am meeting a friend. I've Cloroxed my whole car, and we wipe down every handle and surface in our house once a day with Clorox and water. And when my husband comes in from his police job tonight, after he comes in, he has to go straight up to the shower, and we're gonna wipe down everything he's touched. We're gonna do that every day. When I'm meeting a friend at Shelly Lake today for a walk, and we're gonna stay pretty far away from each other. No hugs, no of our usual greetings, but so there are ways you can adapt to this and still get outside and still see people. So. Okay, Matthew, I now understand it's ice cream. It's not going to be ordered to go. It's a now thing. Yeah, I think that business is going to be under stress here soon. And I think you might want to start thinking about other ways you can earn money. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, y'all are all right on point in terms of the concerns you have about your workplace. And I think they're well framed. And I think you ought to be thinking about what other ways can you earn money in the coming days. Movie recommendations. Okay, The Arrival. Have you seen The Arrival? It's so good. It's about when aliens come to Earth, but it's about communication and the power of language to totally shape everything about your perception of reality. So if you haven't seen that movie, that's a good movie to watch. Lars and the Real Girl. I'm really not too great at these things because I have weird tastes, but Lars and the Real Girl. It's about a socially awkward fellow who lives. It's about family, actually. I don't know. Arrival. It's going to be easy to find somehow. It's not some like bizarre, obscure movie. It's bizarre, but it's not obscure. Lars and the Real Girl is about a socially awkward guy who finds a really interesting new girlfriend, and the whole community has to like adapt to that. Oh, wow, Joel. That's a real. Oh, yay, Joel likes Arrival. Good. Joel, that's a real pickle you got yourself in right there. Joel, are they letting you go to work? Or are you like serving food? Is that what's going on? Because the devil's really in the details. At some point, they've sealed off retirement homes from visitors. But you're not a visitor, you're a worker. So, Joel, your employer is going to have to really work with you all about protocols. They need you, they still have to serve those. I used to lead up a volunteer program at Abbotswood Retirement Center, for example, so I have a sense of the kind of work you're doing. And they need you, probably. So what I would do is I would show up at work. I'd shower before you go to work. I would be really careful about everything you touch before you get to work. And then I would start pressing them for some information and protocols about what y'all need to be doing and how you need to be doing it to protect the people in the nursing home. In the next few weeks, Joel, your role there could become really important. And I mean, it's possible that they could ask you to just pull really amazing hours. You could make a lot of money, actually, if you were willing to commit to fully participating in the solutions that they're trying to devise to take care of those folks. That's good work right there. I want to encourage you. I love elderly people. So keep doing it. You're a good man. All right, are there any other questions? This has gone a lot longer than I anticipated, but that's good. That means, 30 people, that's a lot of people. That's a class right there. We're having class, man. Let's go. Let's get it going. Are there any other questions today? Do y'all have any input about what time you would like me to do this going forward? Is 10 good? Or would you like me to do it later? Caroline, don't choke. We don't need a choking incident on YouTube. Oh, there's Arjun. Hi, Arjun. Okay. If anyone wants to make a motion, you know how we make motions? I can, entertain motions. We could vote. Real-time voting. Democracy live. All right. Kate's saying maybe 11. 10. All right. Can we say 10:30? Oh, no, I see a lot. Okay. I see a lot of 10s, though. Jason, I like the honesty. Jason's like, 2. Well, remember that I can, you can watch these later. And any questions you pose. Okay, I'm going to call it at 10:30 tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to do 10:30 tomorrow. If that's too early for you, then I'll just look before I start the next day's stuff. I'll just look at questions that I didn't answer on the previous day's video, and I'll address them in the next day's video. Okay, so if you wake up at 10:30, lots of people know what's going on besides me. I just will give it to you like short. You don't have to listen to NPR all day like I do. Okay. Oh, Joel, I like the honesty there. Right now you don't have anything to do, but that's going to change. Okay, because y'all are going to be an important part of the solution here. Oh, I love you guys. Oh, this is going to be good for me too. Because I carry this fire. I love to carry this fire. 10:30 tomorrow. I will meet you. I'll try and have another little nugget of framing to help you with this particular time. Feel free to share this with your friends if you think it would be helpful. And yeah, so yay. I'm saying this was a success. I'm looking forward to this little project together, participating in it. Okay, so I'll keep listening. You keep listening. Bring your ideas and thoughts tomorrow and tune in as you can. And you try and bring me information too, relative to your experience. See if in the next 24 hours, if you can be also thinking about things that you would like to know more about, and then I can plan future sessions on that basis. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Hang in there. Okay. Hang in there. We got this. We got this. We have done amazing things as a culture many times in the past. So we are going to meet this cultural moment, and we have the internet to help us. Okay. All right. Be well.